Break down a chicken for just the everyday person. So what we'll need: a cutting board, boning knife, pair of scissors, and a couple whole birds. You can find these cheap sometimes. Got these at Hannaford, $4 a piece. Pretty cheap. What we want to do is we can remove some of this extra fat. You see these wings here? We're gonna the wing has 3 sections: the tip, this first piece, and then the single bone piece. I'm gonna come around that single bone piece and just break it off, right? And we have a wing. We have that bone still attached right there. Turn it around, do the same exact thing on this side. Take this wing off. Same thing, another wing. Now you can take these tips off too. I like to take them off because I throw them in the stocks or at this part. Might as well just continue with this. I have my pot here. We're gonna make our chicken stock. Save as many steps as possible while we're breaking down the bird. Now, we're gonna come to this part here with the legs. We're gonna make an incision. When we find the leg, the bird wants to tell us where to cut, right? We wanna look at the bird. We've got 2 breasts. We got these 2 legs. We had our 2 wings down here. Now, we want to take the wing, or the leg, rather, as it moves, we want to make that incision in between the skin. We end up like this. And then we want to pop the bone, right here, out of the joint. And then as we come down into this, there's what's called the oyster. We want to cut into that oyster. We want to make sure we grab it. We don't want to leave it in there. And we have our leg piece. There's one. The second one, same way. Once you make that incision, you can pop the bone out of the socket. Once that bone's out of the socket, you can just pretty much take the leg off, like so. Then we have the backbone here. Usually just cut this down, take this off. You can use scissors. Use scissors here. Okay. And there's our backbone, and then we're left with the 2 breasts. Now, we can take this piece as it is, and we can sear it off. We can season it, we can sear it off, we can brine it, and then we can roast it, just like this, and then pull the breasts after they're roasted. Or we can take it a step further and we find that keel bone. Make sure your knife is sharp. Sometimes the skin gets a little tough to get through. So once you find that keel bone, you're just gonna ride the knife down the bone. Try to take as much chicken off as you can as you ride that bone. Ride that bone. And again, we're gonna have another bone here. I'm just gonna pop it out the socket. Pretty much feeling your way down the chicken, and you have the statler, or the airline breast, with the tender attached. Now you can pull these tenders out, and then you have your airline breast there. And then we just do the same thing on the other side. You find the keel bone again. We work the knife down through there. You don't have to rush with this. You can just take your time if you want. We're gonna make a stock out of these, out of the carcass. Pop that bone out. Come back around. Get the knife in between. Okay, beautiful. Same thing. We have our airline breast with our tender. Again, if you want to take the tender out, just take the tender out. You have your airline breast. We have our keel bone. Our backbone can go in the pot. And then when you look at the bone here, and you see those nice French bones, you know, we were taught in culinary school, you know, scrape the bone, scrape the bone. You know, there's a little piece there. If we just cut it just a touch. Then we take a towel. And then push all that cartilage down. You have this beautiful clean bone with all the skin still attached. Otherwise, we'd be cutting around the bone, we'd be pulling the skin out. You know, this bone is perfectly clean. For the legs, sometimes I like to take this first bone out. And very simple. Once you cut down, you can kind of do this with your hands, with your fingers. Get your fingers in there. This way you scrape a little bit. Don't want to scrape too hard. Don't take any bone fragments off. Just pop that bone out of the socket there. And you have your thigh and leg together here. We could, if we wanted to, we could pull this bone out too. We could break the bone about here. We could pull this bone out, and we can make a stuffing or a force meat, and we could pipe it in, and then the chicken will kind of sit up like that, all stuffed. Pretty nice presentation. Same thing, just kind of cut around the bone, scrape it down a little bit. Pop that piece out. Again, pretty clean bone. Throw it into your stock pot. If you want to separate these two, I usually just roll it up like so. I find the bottom piece. Come across. And I have my leg. And I have my boneless thigh.